feels really silent. It feels eerie. What am I laughing at? There's nothing to laugh at. That entire time? Okay, was I muted the entire time or just for that second? Because I did cough, so I muted myself. But I think I'm pretty sure that I was talking. And it was audible, and I wasn't muted for like the 4 minutes that I've been online or something. I'm pretty sure that is the case. The entire time, oh fuck. Okay, well I didn't say anything important anyway. I coughed. That was about it. It's, yeah, that's basically what happened. I did explain the silence though. This is, there's a reason where there's just audible silence. There's nothing. But I'll wait till a few more people come in and I'll give them the scoop on that. Because I look forward to it, but at the same time, no. Denied. It's not gonna happen. Actually, maybe. Like, what would we talk about? You say you like shrimp, I say I do not like shrimp, and that's probably the end of that conversation. I'm gonna have to flesh it out for like another hour and a half. Like, don't say shit like that. Now you make me feel bad. I'm supposed to be like this robot, incapable of feeling, man. Fine, you're allowed. We'll figure out a way to incorporate you with your stupid shrimp on this thing. We'll do it. We will do it. About a world only made of shrimp. It'd be a shitty world to live in. I don't know if I agree with that. Disagree. I don't know, Kat. I really don't know. That's a good question, though. Because Polly came in here and it's just, I don't know. Okay. I am going to do that. I do want to host people and talk about people and maybe feature people and stuff like that. And I look forward, because that's kind of what I was going about last time too, like kind of creating more co-streams and things like that. Like eventually you kind of meet people and you click with them and stuff and you want to stream with them or every so often do something with them. And I think I want to branch out and do that as well. Like, unfortunately for you guys, the primary focus is going to be on me. So, whether that's a good thing or not, I don't know. But at the same time, like, I do want to branch out and offer it to other people and maybe highlight different people and start doing kind of interviews and stuff like that. Because I think it's a community thing at the end of the day, right? It's not just random thoughts of David. Yeah, it's good to know. Okay, so I think there's enough people almost to start, at least to start this part. This is, look, we're gonna call him out. I'm freaking glad here, sir. Look, right there. Ready? Sir, I'm normally okay with lurking, but there you go. See that? I tweeted the shit out of Bovine Divine. I tweeted him like 4 or 5 times because he's complained in the past that I do these podcasts and I never inform him. So I made sure I tweeted the shit right before I posted. And he's here. So good job, sir. You found your way here. But I feel like that worked. I'm such an idiot. Why do you guys watch this idiocy? I don't understand. Oh my goodness. Okay, so I think people can realize there's silence. A lot of awkward silence. As Whitman said yesterday, it accentuates my giggling. So, if you type in this, right? With any... Oh shit, what is this? What? What the hell is that? Okay, you know what? We'll listen to that. What is this? What the hell is that? It's amazing. But yes, I was going to say, I put in a song request thing. This is 8 minutes and 29 seconds. What the hell? Okay. Okay, it's not supposed to work like that. I don't know why this came up, but this came up. So we're gonna get rid of that and pretend it never happened. Okay, let's try that again. Exit, man. Get out of here. How do we delete this one? Okay, anyway. I don't know how to delete that. We'll skip it. Okay. So, type in that !SR to the best of your ability, the band name or whatever, the song name. Hopefully it'll come up not with ninjas and other shit. But yes, you guys are in charge of the music today. You can pick whatever I'm supposed to listen to. So we'll see how that goes. And I think I have it set up here. There you go. See? Hey, Johnny Rebel. So there you go. Yes, I will relinquish control. I generally don't do that, at least for today. You guys can figure out what you want to listen to. Please treat this like a newborn baby that's brand new and deserves really good attention. Don't be shitheads about it, please. But anyway. It'd be interesting to see people's musical tastes. And get flagged like shit for copyright infringement on YouTube, but that's okay. I'm recording this one locally. Shake It Fast? What is this? I don't know if I like the name of that song, sir. Yeah. Well, all the other, what do you call it? All the other songs or whatever, they're like royalty-free music, so. Shithead's still a good song though. Okay, I trust you. I trust you, sir. Alright, I think I'll probably start. Here's a couple things that I wanted to obviously talk about. I am so hot. You know, I'm kind of glad that was rejected by the title. I don't know. I've had, ironically, like the auto DJ song request thing set up the entire time, almost since I streamed, almost since Nightbot has existed. I've had that set up, but I don't think I've ever used it. I think I maybe used it one time. I was streaming Street Fighter V and I had Street Fighter V's audio muted. I don't think I ever used it again after that though. Could be a remix, I'm not sure. I have honestly no idea what Dead Cross Cake Reflex is. Like, I don't know what you think that I listen to, but it's not that. Okay, you know what? I'll even sweeten the deal. If somebody by chance requests my favorite song, one of two favorite songs, I will give you $5. How about that? How about that? And I probably won't happen. I think Mental last time asked me, he did ask me what my favorite genre of music was, and I told him, so he might be the only person that kind of knows outside of our Italian pal there. But even then, I don't think people know favorite songs. Mental sure doesn't. So you can best guess what my favorite genre is, because that'll tie in actually later on too. That is how little I sometimes talk about myself here. Well, you got a lot of guessing to do. Or you could beg Mentala if he shows up. Folk or indie? My lips are sealed, sir. Not saying anything. Alright, so I think we're good to start. What do I want to start with? Okay, so I think... Okay, I guess first of all, maybe tell me if like the audio is balanced, because I've never used actual songs before. So I don't want to start talking if I'm drowned out or anything right now. Make sure that's okay. I obviously can't check myself right now. But I have it lowered pretty decently. You're pretty okay now? Okay, I'll lower it just a little bit, I think. It shows like how much louder studio music, or whatever you want to call it, is. Really? How? Try that, Polly or Cat. I don't think that. Or maybe that's for the song request, right? Because it would make sense if it's like positioned into the thing there. Bovine, welcome, sir. Did you hear my trash talking about you earlier? Glad you could mysteriously make it. What is this? Oh, this is a shake it fast. Okay. We didn't start yet. I'm speechless, man. This is what you think I listen to? Yeah, we were actually talking about Bovine before you came, sir. I said I tweeted the shit out of you on Twitter because your Twitter is new. Because you always complain that I start these things and you have no idea. So I tweeted you like 5 times in a row to make sure that you came. This song, man. It's like a really bad movie from the 70s. Like, when I think of this song and I hear it, there's like 2 people in an alley shooting each other. And one of them is dead. Like, one of them got shot. DMX. Okay, we'll get started. This is good, I think. Yeah, bring the DMX, man. Okay, so I would encourage anybody that actually answered on Twitter to talk for themselves, because I don't want to talk for anybody. But a couple days ago, it's actually I think even a day ago, I'm not sure, I posted that on Twitter. And it was about specifically, obviously if you're a streamer, which pretty much I think everybody that's talking right now is, if they feel comfortable using a webcam on the stream or if they don't, and to maybe elaborate on that and say why or why not. So I think, what does it say here? 31 people voted. I'm actually surprised with that turnout. There's only like 100 people that follow me on Twitter, so it's not like there's a huge amount. So a third, assuming they came all from kind of like my followers or whatever, responded. So that was actually pretty good. I guess I posted it 2 days ago, but you can obviously see there, it says 74% said yes, they use a webcam to some degree, and they had a different reasoning for it, and then obviously the other 26% said no, they do not. So despite using a webcam now, I actually fall into that 26%. I do not generally use a webcam. Yeah, 30%. Like, I mean, that's pretty good. I don't know if it was just like people seeing it, because I saw a couple new faces there, like that Ghost King guy. But I don't know. It was pretty good. There was a lot of opinion, and I like, for the most part, I agree, ironically, despite not using one, that using one kind of enhances like the viewer experience and stuff like that. This song is gonna mess with my head as I talk. All I hear is like people shooting each other. But yeah, shake it fast, okay. But yes. Okay, see, this is what I mean. This is the good opinion. So, and some people are like that. Like, some people don't watch streams. There's somebody that responded there saying that they do watch streams if they don't have webcams. Some people do, some people don't. So, I'll explain like my kind of personal experience after. I did post a pastebin. I don't know if people read it, and I get that if you don't or didn't, that's okay, because pastebin is long. But reading is good for you too, right? But it'll be a little bit weird talking about it because, at least in my case, I'm not a really personal guy. Like, and no joke, like, this is how impersonal I am when I'm streaming. And it's not to say that I'm not personal or something. Like, for example, if I was like an action figure and you walked into the store and you bought me or something and you came home and you opened me, like, this is what you get. I'm not a fake person. I didn't develop some kind of like fake persona to interact with people. This is me, right? And the only difference I think between kind of on stream and off stream to me is I don't really open up on the internet to a lot of people. So like when Polly, for example, said you don't know what my favorite genre of music is, like that's almost how reserved I am, despite being incredibly extroverted in real life and incredibly I don't know. I don't do it. And yeah. This analogy is going places. Let's just stop it. But it's true. Like I really don't interact in that personal sense with a lot of people that I meet on Twitch. So even things like knowing what kind of favorite genre of music that I have or listen to or something, I think most people would be unaware completely. Like Mental had managed to guess it last time, but I don't think that's even something that I share with random people. So it's not anything against people on Twitch, it's just more so, I guess, kind of the way that I am. I don't even know how to explain that. Like, yes, to a certain degree, but like if you ask me, for example, what my favorite genre of music is, like I'm not going to be like, oh, I'm so weird and hidden and withdrawn that I'm not going to tell you, because I'll tell you. Like, there's no problem with me answering that. But to me, willfully walking up to you and saying, hey, Bovine, this is what I like to listen to, it's not going to happen. And it's just kind of like a personality defect or something. Maybe my brain is screwed up, I don't know. But I've never been one to kind of reach out and talk personally to other people. And I think if you scroll through all our message histories and stuff like that, no joke, you will see maybe a handful of things, probably even less, that I just don't do it. No, I get that, Polly. See, and that's actually what I'm going to talk about there, Johnny, too. Because the general consensus is what I kind of think. Using webcams on a stream, I think, is a good idea. I think, obviously, you create more of a personalized experience. You can see reactions. You can see, like, tone and inflection. You can see more than tone and inflection. You know, you can see eyebrows moving or something like that. Like, you understand the person better. You get to know their mannerisms, as you said. You get to see how they react in playing certain games or doing certain things. And I think all of that is a very positive experience. And I think for the most part, at least in my case, if I'm watching somebody else stream, I definitely prefer there to be a webcam. And that's just for all the reasons that I listed above. It's just a more interactive experience, and I genuinely don't think there's anything wrong with that. There is certain circumstances, you probably wouldn't know him, Johnny, because you're kind of more variety with a little bit of speedrunning. But within kind of like the retro community that I kind of speedrun and do things more in tune to, there's somebody called Vico, and he plays Ninja Gaiden 2. And he is currently the world record holder, and he's very close to getting below 10 minutes in that game. He's got like a 10:01 or something like that. He is one of the rare circumstances where I think skill does not matter. Or sorry, like webcam usage does not matter. He could be completely muted. He can be just completely withdrawn. He doesn't have to say anything. I am more than happy to show up to his stream and watch him based on skill alone. See, and that's the thing though, Bovine, because it's not that way. Because in real life, I think I open up quite a bit. Like not on a personal aspect or a personal level, because I've always just kind of been withdrawn in that aspect. But I'm far more reserved unless people specifically ask me something, at least on Twitch anyway. Something about Twitch. I think this is the reason, and I think when I kind of explain the webcam thing a little bit more too, I think the reason is because in real life, you're rarely the focal point. You know, like people come up, they talk to you or whatever. Sometimes you're part of a group. Sometimes you're by yourself. Sometimes you are the focal point. But on Twitch, you're the focal point all the time, every single time. Like every time that you hit that stream button, every single time, people are there to watch you, only you. And I think that's the big difference because it changes the interaction. It's no longer like you're sometimes a third wheel in a social situation, or sometimes you're in a group situation and you're just kind of there with other people. You're directly interacting for the most part one-on-one with everybody that shows up to your stream every single time. And I think that dynamic and how it changes the interaction is something that sometimes I try to limit, sometimes I try to avoid. Sometimes I'm not entirely comfortable reaching out and branching out and sharing stuff like that, but yeah, and I mean, like, everybody has those boundaries too, right? Like, I don't really think there's boundaries that exist for me, because if anybody asked something, like, that just doesn't make sense in my brain. If anybody asked something, for the most part, I'd probably give them an answer. It's just reaching out and doing it first, or talking about myself in that personal aspect without anybody inquiring ahead of time. I don't do it. I just, something in my brain. It's funny that you say that. I actually kind of took a break in between this podcast. I get it though, like people burn out. I think it depends how long the break is, because realistically, I was, yeah. Yeah, I know Bovine is incredibly opinionated about that, but like this is not a job for most people. You have to remember it's a hobby, and you should treat it as such, right? So you know what? Okay, I'll jump back to the webcam thing. This is something that I kind of wanted to talk about earlier. But I was streaming Edith Finch the other day, and I will play the thing again for you because the events are up. Literally, this happened. This was the first time this ever happened. Look at that, okay? Somebody, as I was streaming Edith Finch, donated $100. I do not know. I don't know who this person was. They had good stuff written as their name. Their name was a name that I was not familiar with as I was streaming, and I checked it out after. I honestly thought at the time he meant to donate like $1 or something like that. So I actually emailed the PayPal saying like, is this a mistake? Like, I feel really uncomfortable accepting this money because I didn't really do anything. I streamed Edith Finch. And they responded back saying like, no, it's not a mistake. So, but why I kind of bring this in there is because I own my own business, and okay, I'll talk about that too when I jump back to the webcams. But why I bring that donation up is because, as I said, like Bovine kind of mentioned it, I own my own business. I don't know if you knew that, Johnny Rebel. So as much as I want to believe that Twitch is a hobby and it should be done in your spare time and it should be free, as a venture capitalist, I say that anytime that you invest time into something, you should be getting money back for that. And I firmly believe that if you're streaming, you know, upwards to like 20, 30 hours a week where it is replacing a part-time job, you should monetize your channel to some degree. And if you are on the verge of needing a break or something like that, that's where it's kind of tricky, because I think the people will always be here. Like the community that you develop within your own community are always going to be here. And I don't think there's a really big issue with you. Okay, actually I'll say that too. I don't think there's a big issue with you taking a break as long as you come back. But as I say this, the second most person that I talked to on Twitch recently out of nowhere decided to delete his account. I would literally say since I started Twitch maybe like a year ago, that I've exchanged like thousands of messages with him. His name is Baze86, and absolutely out of nowhere he decided to delete his account the other day. And actually that's quite lame. And I'll tell you, it's weird because I never really thought of the repercussions of this, but when you delete your account or you remove yourself from Twitch, you literally are, it's basically like a suicide almost. It's basically like a death to the other people around you. And it's weird to say that, but at the same time, it's like there's no other way to put that, is the interaction and the growth that you've had with this person that you've literally taken for granted has been removed from you. So I think as long as you're taking a break in the sense that you're not removing yourself from everybody else on Twitch, breaks are fine. And you know, if you always come back, whatever, if you don't come back, at least keep Twitch active so people can message you or contact you that you've met on this platform. But if you do delete yourself, I think that's actually quite lame. And in the case of Baze, you know, he had his reasons, he had his priorities, and I get it. You know, Twitch is definitely like a side hobby. It's not life for most people. A vast majority of people, it's, you know, something that you do in your spare time or something after you actually go to work. But it is a weird experience when people do that, because now I have somebody that used to exist that suddenly doesn't exist anymore, and I can reach out and talk to him on other platforms, but now I'm put in this weird situation where I don't want to reach out on other platforms to him because he chose to eliminate contact with everybody on this platform, specifically because he wanted to get away from it or wanted to take a break from it or whatever the case is. Like South Park. That's great, Polly. I actually thought about that too. I thought about maybe setting up like a charity something for the Stollery Hospital in Edmonton or something like that. And just the reason that I mentioned money is because if you... like, I don't think everybody should be like nickel and diming everybody, but at the same time, there should be that expectation because Twitch has replaced TV for me, right? And if I randomly donate to a channel or I support you somehow financially, I'm basically saying, I appreciate the time that you're putting into this because I know it's not a full-time thing. You know, most of the streamers, if not all of the streamers that I watch, do not stream as their job. They have very dedicated jobs and then they come back after and then they stream. So it's really important, I think, to make people realize that, yeah, I think it's really important to realize that people need that. Yeah, I have to admit, instrumental music is a lot easier to talk over. This is distracting me a little. Oh, who said that? Apollo? Jerk. It's like, it's weird. It's some of these songs I'm aware of, like this one is on my actual playlist if there's nobody suggesting anything. And I kind of want to like listen to it in my head, like I'm paying attention to the lyrics, so it's like my brain is going one way, trying not to pay attention. I guess one thing I could always do is take off the headphones if it gets too distracting. But then it's like the same thing too with the other music, is I've never heard some of these songs before, so I'm kind of trying to pay attention to the lyrics and if I like it or not. I definitely feel a little bit more scattered. But hello, Apollo. Welcome, sir. This is okay to me so far. What is this? I don't know how to do that, apparently. I guess I'm not... Okay, I like this one. This is okay. Bovine Divine, he requested it, okay. As long as it doesn't radically change, this is something I can get behind. So yeah, that was a bit scattered, but the whole point of that was that, especially when you're bringing finances and stuff into a channel, I really hope that most people realize, at least from a viewer standpoint, and I think this is why I need to take breaks too, because if you don't get anything out of it in terms of money, not that I think that for a channel to be successful that you obviously need to get money out of it, but if you don't get something out of it in terms of experience or, you know, financial or something like that, then you should probably step away, because at that point it's probably becoming too consuming and maybe the balance in your life is being skewered between like working and other stuff like that. So no, we don't. No, and I think there's a good way to do it and there's a bad way to do it, right? So obviously, like trying to elicit bit wars or encouraging donation incentives, like stuff like that is something that you'll never see on my channel. I will never have a donation incentive to buy a Sega Saturn or something like that. If I want to buy it myself, I work, I'll do it, no problem. But I'll always have, you know, like a small thing set up that if people want to do that, they can, because it, like, how else are you supposed to do that in terms of Twitch? Like, that is my question to you as a viewer. Like, not that I expect financial from anybody, right? But as a viewer of a stream, other than your continued support, I guess there's two ways to do that, right? You can choose to kind of move forward and donate something financially to somebody to kind of say, like, thank you for your time or whatever, or you can literally just show up to all their streams and interact and communicate and stuff like that. But as a viewer, it's like, how do you say thank you to a streamer for providing content that you want to watch on a continuous basis? So I think the biggest thing is viewership, like just showing up and being there and interacting and chatting and stuff. Like, that's my number one. I don't care if people donate. I don't want people to donate. But at least in my situation, if there is an incentive to donate, or if there's something, that's my way of also saying thank you on top of my viewership, because I realize, especially owning my own business, how hard it is sometimes to fit in the time to stream and do things like that. Like, my schedule is so sporadic in between everything that I do that even sitting down for like an hour and a half to stream, and there's a reason why my entire schedule, and if you check like all my VODs, it's like an hour long or an hour and a half. Like, I don't stream for like 4 or 5 hours because, quite frankly, sometimes I don't have 4 or 5 hours to myself. So the biggest thing for me is the people that come back and want to interact with me. Yeah, and I mean, I agree with that too. Like, that is like the ultimate thing. As long as you come back and you interact and you talk and stuff, like, I want to ask for anything more, because this will never be my job. This will never replace my job. Like, even if it blew up and I became like some kind of Twitch millionaire or something, I would not feel comfortable sitting here for like 10 hours a day streaming video games. Like, mentally, I would just check out. There's no way that I could do that as my livelihood. It would have to be something related to what I'm doing now, or go back into my background when it comes to teaching. No, and I agree completely, Boban. And as I said, I think on top of that, like with my viewership, the only reason that I would donate to a specific channel is to literally show them, like, I really do appreciate your time investment, because I know for the most part you probably work like a 40-hour week or something like that and you come back. Someone said a bit ago that was against donations and not having a donation button in the options. You're denying that person the right that feels of doing something good and taking that option away from them. See, like, I kind of agree with that, because at the end of the day, like, if you and a friend or something want to go outside and you want to thank them, like, let's say one of your friends helped you to move or something, you maybe buy them a pizza or you buy them a beer or something like that. As a streamer, I think that mentality can be very transferable. It's not like just because you stream or something, there should never be any kind of like financial behind it. Like, if somebody wants to throw $5 your way because you've spent an hour streaming or something, like, that to me is a perfectly okay thing. It's not like something, and I think I've kind of loosened up a little bit about it, because the more that I stream, the more that it becomes it's almost like a secondary job. Like, I think that's the trickiest part on Twitch, is because even if you're not streaming actively, you're still actively involved in the community. And on top of that too, you're here on the website in other people's streams, you're kind of networking and talking to other people, you're meeting other people, and not to treat it like a job, but at the same time, it's not really a hobby in the sense that you do it for a very limited amount of time per day and then come back to it. So, you know, like, in a different way, like, I don't know how to explain that other than, like, a hobby to me might be, you go out and you play hockey or something for 2 hours and then you come back and then you're done. Whereas Twitch, it doesn't ever seem to be done. That's the thing. Like, there's always something else to do on Twitch. There's always something. And the fact that Twitch never seems to end, I think that's where I've become mentally more in line with allowing financials to be involved in that. Because otherwise, I think if it ended, I would feel incredibly bad saying, okay, you know what, I've streamed for like 2 hours, I'll see you guys next year or something. There's no point for me to accept donations or to expect donations or any kind of financial support. And the fact that it's not, the fact that you're always creating content, or you're always trying to improve, or you're always trying to entertain, or whatever the case is, I think that point it becomes partially like a job. It's not necessarily like a job, but like it transcends hobby. That's all I'm trying to say. It transcends hobby. See, I think that's actually a good approach, Johnny. For the longest time, okay, this is actually one of my favorite songs. Not favorite in the sense, but no, I think that's actually a really smart idea, Johnny. And I'm not opposed to that either. Like, I have like that little panel thing down on the very bottom. But other than that, like, I've never had donation goals. I've never had bit war things where I encourage people to spend bits for incentives or anything like that. Like, it is strictly if you want to do that, to support this, because this is something that cuts into the free time that I really don't have sometimes, then I will accept it. If not, you know what, just show up and be here and talk and interact and stuff. I'm just as fine with that. I appreciate your viewership just as much, if actually I appreciate it more than anything that you could donate financially. But that's, I think, the biggest thing to me is just showing up and being here and interacting and things like that. See, and I kind of agree with that too. Like, that's why I posted that thing and I replayed it, because I don't feel comfortable. Like, to me, when I donate money to somebody else, I don't want it to be like some huge amount. It's like $5 or $10 or something. You can get a coffee or something. You can buy a beer on me. But I don't like the fact that other people have the choice to donate essentially like an unlimited amount of money. And that was technically the first big donation this channel has received. I think the other biggest donation was like $20 or something. So if somebody's gonna throw $100 at me because I was streaming Edith Finch, I literally don't know how to mentally process that. Because in my mind, I played a video game for 2 hours, I interacted with people, but I mean, like, I don't think I did anything to deserve that, and I can't rationalize in my head how I deserve that or why I deserve it, because I don't think I did deserve that. I don't think 2 hours of playing a video game should ever be worth $100. And I'm very grateful to whoever did that, and I checked and I made sure that they were serious in doing that, but at the same time, it's like, I still don't feel right accepting that, and I kind of want to send it back. Because mentally, like, I'm playing a game. Like, I didn't do anything. There's no labor behind that. There was no skill behind that particular one. It's not like it was a speedrun. Hey Fitzvogel, yes, you can. You can deny the affiliate program. It's not mandatory. As you continue to grow, they'll automatically invite you. That part is automatic, but it's completely up to you whether or not you want to accept it. Well, maybe I'll recycle $100 your way. Make you play yokai. I don't know why people hate yokai. I really don't. Yeah, hello Footsvogel as well. See, and I agree with that as well, Johnny. See, but this is the other thing too, is like, I don't like the idea of giveaways or anything like that, because it attracts a lot of people that don't normally appear in your channel. So I think if I ever gave it back somehow in a community aspect, the giveaway would not be advertised, it would not be posted about on Twitter or something. It would be very much for the people that regularly show up and watch me, that I would want to give something back to them in form of whatever the case is, you know, like a Steam gift card, I don't know. But I would not actively advertise it, only because I do not like the idea of the community that I've created here and had have joined me and do stuff like that to, yeah, join back. Some of the lyrics, man. You do mess with it. Okay, should I turn it instrumental? Tell me, honestly, because it is distracting to me and I don't want to be distracting for other people. Because I'm perfectly fine with doing that. You would? Okay. I think I will. I thought it wouldn't be as distracting as it was, but... No Fitzvogel. Kind of talking about webcams, which I'll go back to. And, okay, we'll do that then. We'll go like this. We'll do the old-fashioned stuff here. Yeah, like donation incentives to win and stuff I think are lame. I would never do anything like that. Alright, back to instrumental music. That's gonna not sidetrack me as much as it did. But you know what? Part of doing that is also embracing change, right? So I'll jump back into that webcam thing. I'll paste it again just because there might be people that weren't here originally, but this is basically what I posted on Twitter a couple days ago. Just to again highlight it really quick. I guess somebody else voted that changed that slightly from last time. So 75% say yes, they would use a webcam on stream, they're comfortable with it. 25% would say that they're not. As I started saying last time, I actually fall into the 25% that I'm not. And why I don't use one. This is kind of an interesting question, because I think the first time I was really kind of thinking about that. I'm almost a year old on Twitch. I posted this pastebin thing. If you didn't read it, it basically said that I'm almost a year old on Twitch. If you want to assume I'm like 340 days or something. So I think I created it September 1st, so it's really fast approaching. If you want to assume that I'm like 345 days or something, let's say per day I did a daily stream. And of those 345 days, I have used a webcam probably less than 10 times. And the reasoning behind that was originally when I started, it's not because I'm like self-conscious in how I look or how I sound or anything like that, because I am not. I'm not self-conscious about that at all. But I didn't want to attract a weird community that showed up based on how I looked compared to based on what I could do. So originally when I started, I just randomly streamed like random retro video games. I had no intention on speedrunning. And then I think that became more of a focal point as I continued to speedrun and became actually quite skillful at some of these games, that I wanted the skill to be the focus of the attention. I didn't want how I looked or sounded to be the focal point of why somebody shows up, because at that point, it's just not a good community. So of, again, those 340 days or whatever that I've existed, let's say, I think the first time literally that I used a webcam was like 250 days in. If you look down at that channel thing, there's like a completed list. I'm really big on interactive games, like games that will make me cry and crush my soul and stuff. And one of the ones that I streamed was To the Moon. And I figured, you know what, I have no problems using a webcam. Like I really don't at all. But I wanted to use a webcam specifically for To the Moon, just in case I did end up crying or something. And I think in cases like that, where the experience is like emotionally driven and the narrative is very strong, then that kind of justifies like a webcam usage for me. But if I'm speedrunning, and even now I feel self-conscious a little bit, I'll literally show you. This is what my Batman face looks like when I'm speedrunning. I go like this. Like the entire time my tongue is hanging out. So, I'm like, what do I don't know why people would want to see that. But yeah, sometimes it's like way out of my mouth too. I just look like an idiot. But the whole point is, in narrative-driven games, I had no problem kind of sharing that experience of what my emotions would be and kind of what I would look like during random stuff. And I think that really changed my perception, because the more that I used it, the more Lizard Dave, the more that I used it, or didn't use it rather, then it became kind of a thing. Like, it's not like a comfort thing. It's just more so I don't really do anything interesting expression-wise when I'm speedrunning to warrant use of a webcam, I think. And that's all there is to it. So flash forward again, all the podcasts that I've done so far, I've used a webcam because I think obviously that's more of a focal point. I'm a little bit more animated when I do these things. When I streamed Edith Finch like a week ago, I used the webcam. Like, you can even check the VOD. If you check the videos or whatever, you can literally see it. It's still there. So again, things like that, I've become very comfortable using a webcam with, and this is where I'm horribly conflicted, because I've had the mentality for so long that I didn't want it to be a focal point, and now I'm becoming a lot more comfortable with it, and I like sharing that with other people. So I'm literally caught in the crossroad here of using one all the time, no matter what I'm doing, to only reserving it for certain things like a podcast or something where it's a lot more interactive. And what is stupid about that, and I don't know if it's a problem that other people seem to have or it's only with me, is Kat posted in her reply to that Twitter thing a picture of a Minecraft creeper, and that is very much a problem with me. And not to say that I am a creeper, because I'm not, but I get a lot of unwanted attention that I am not used to. I get lots of weird sexual remarks and stuff like that, and it's a real thing. And I'm not comfortable dealing with that stuff because I think it forces me from a personality change to deal with it. Like, I'm not like, I think that's the best way to put it, is my personality does not involve dealing with that on almost a daily basis. But like, it seems whenever I use the webcam, and maybe it was just because I didn't use one for so long or something, and like, I don't know what the case is, but a lot of people draw attention to the way that I look or sound, and it's I don't like it. Creeper Dave. I'm okay with Creeper Dave. I'm okay with Lizard Dave. But for real, it is a thing. And I think that's the one main driving force behind why I probably wouldn't use one moving forward. And I think the other thing too is kind of in that community thing. Like, I'm not an idiot, okay? Like, I know that I'm a fairly attractive dude. I know that I have a fairly unique voice. So these are things that I'm obviously willing to accept about myself. And even when I'm not using a webcam, there are random people that come in here and they say, you know, your voice is actually really cool. And it's become a compliment thing at that point. But I don't want people to show up community-wise that are either here because of how I look or how I sound, to replace the community of people that came here and followed me originally, sometimes even when I wasn't using a microphone, with what I can do. And I think that's the biggest thing, is because even recently, and I say this like there is a minority, I would say there's been like 10 to 15 people that just randomly message me and have been weirdly sexual or weirdly stupid or weirdly lewd, and it's just not something that I'm used to. But of those, 10 or 15 people, I don't want that community that is following me for very shallow reasons to even really mingle with the community that I've kind of built up otherwise. Because the community that I like is the nerdy community that I can discuss like pixel perfect kills with and video games and stuff. Like, I am on Twitch because I am a nerd and I like video games. Like, don't think beyond that. Like, that is the reason that I'm here. That is the reason I think most people are here. So to turn it into kind of like a dating social site and stuff, it's not. So that is the reason behind why I haven't really used one. And it's kind of weird opening up about that because it directly conflicts with not sharing information about myself. But at the same time, I kind of feel like I owe the explanation to people. Hey, bro. How come I haven't been banned in your chat, by the way? It is different in real life. Like, people have approached me in real life and obviously said things or complimented me or whatever. And I think it is different in real life because you're not hiding behind anything. You're exposing yourself as you choose to expose yourself. And I think that's the biggest thing. Like even I don't know, maybe like 2 weeks ago, I went to the gym and there was a girl there and she actually approached me and she said some stuff. But I can't explain why that's different, but it is different because when people do it over the internet, like I don't know anything about them. I don't know anything at all about them. Like I can't see them. There's sometimes almost no interaction from my part based on the other part. Like it's just random stuff that comes from nowhere and people saying random things and you're kind of scratching your head. Like it's basically like catcalling. Like if you were to walk down the road or something and someone shouts something at you and runs away, that's basically what happens here on Twitch. It's like someone says some random shit. Like where did that come from? Like I'm almost tempted. You know what? I'm gonna do that. Watch. Look at this. I'll do that. Look, watch. This is like a random example. And I mean, like, I have thick skin at the end of the day. Like this stuff, I don't really care. But like this is how it like escalates for me in like every single chat. And I'll throw that out there. Because like I said nothing at all, and then like this is what happens randomly to me. And I don't know if it's like a me problem or if other people experience this or what, but this is just like, okay, I'm not here to do weird shit like this, okay? I'm here to play video games. I was watching this guy play a video game, and then just all of a sudden it just always takes a turn for the worst, and I'm like, okay, I don't understand why, but there's like endless things like this, and it does bug me to some degree. Because it just seems to happen to me. Like I don't know. But anyway, long story short, that is why I don't usually use a webcam at least, because I like the community that I've built. I like the community that created. I do, like that's the thing, like like trust me, as much as I'm kind of like bitching about it, I really don't care. I really don't care at the end of the day. It doesn't bug me. It's just more so, it's just this weird reoccurring thing. Like if there's anything that's negative on Twitch for me, it's the random interactions like that. Everything else is like a completely positive experience. There's nothing bad about Twitch at all. It's just that random stuff that always seems to happen, and it just always. See, but this is the thing, like, I have no problem being highly confrontational. Like, I am a very extroverted person in real life. I can speak my mind. I have no problem doing that. I think what's kind of a catch-22 in this situation is you drastically change your persona in dealing with them in like a live stream or a live setting. And that's kind of the interesting thing about that, is because I think the people that come here and watch and kind of know me on a relatively good basis, they're probably going to realize, okay, this is very out of characteristic for David to act like this based on what somebody said. And some of you guys, like that Heberek K thing, or I'm always pronouncing that wrong. I know Kat's going to beat me. But when I was streaming that casually, there was that guy that came in and I did ban him. He didn't say anything weird. He just randomly asked to be like a moderator or a friend or something. So he asked to be my friend. And I kind of ignored it originally and I said, no, that doesn't work that way. And then he asked again. He just said, yeah, like be my friend. And then I banned him. Like I didn't let it go. I was like, yeah, I don't know who you are. I'm like, you're not going to come in here and do weird things. I'm just going to axe you. But even then, like people kind of made fun of that. But at the same time, it's like you do alter your personality to deal with this. And I think that's the lamest part about this experiences, is it forces me to be somebody that I'm not, to interact or deal with it. And I don't necessarily like that feeling. He did want a friend. And we axed him in the head anyway. We axed him good, man. But I mean, like, that's my mentality going forward. Like, I'm not gonna appease your idiocy. Like, if you want to be an idiot for the most part, and really kind of detract from the experience that everybody else is having, I'm not gonna keep you around. I'll get rid of you. Yeah, and that's exactly my mentality too. And I'm sorry, Kat, I screwed that up again. I'm so horrible. Like, I know you've told me that like a billion times, it just doesn't stick in my head. Hebereke. That's probably still wrong. I don't know. I can't seem to remember it. But no, Polly, I completely agree. Like, I'm not going to give him any kind of satisfaction or anything like that. You want to come in and be a weirdo, I'll just get rid of you really quickly. See, I'm so liberal. Like, I've banned 2 people, to be candid about that, the entire time that I've been on Twitch. I don't even remember the last person I banned. The other person I banned kind of wanted to be my friend too. He or she came in and they were asking for moderator status, and they kept asking for that sword thing. So after like 5 minutes, I was like, okay, just get out of here, and I banned them. But I didn't know who they were. But no, I'm like so liberal. Like, if you're in chat regularly here, it's usually a very sarcastic chat, and I love it. Yeah, I kind of wonder that too, Raw Dog. Like, I think I've noticed that a lot on Twitch. It's just how mentally unsound some of the people that are here. They do a lot of things that I would consider a little bit questionable, at least in terms of like mental health. Okay, Johnny, I'll send them next time. I'll send them with their gaping wound to the head. And I agree with that policy. Like, I just have the mentality where, you know, maybe 10 years ago I would have found it funny or something. Maybe I'm getting old. I know I'm getting old. By the way, Bovine, I woke up today. Normally I don't eat cereal. Normally I eat like healthy breakfast and I make stuff from scratch. But I ate Cheerios. That is my cereal of choice. No sugar, no nothing. Very boring Cheerios. I think we've hit that midlife point when you prefer Cheerios. But yeah, you're right. It wasn't Frosted Flakes. See, and I think that's the thing too, Polly, is like people hide behind that anonymous nature of the internet to say stuff. And I think that's the biggest point when it comes to me kind of experiencing the tail end of all this stuff. Is it's just a lot of the people that message me, it's not like they're people that I've known for a really long time. I think like if it's somebody that I've known for a really long time and then they say something really awkward, I would feel awkward, but at the same time it's kind of a little bit more excusable, like if you can even excuse it. A lot of these people that say random stuff, it's like they've known me for like a matter of minutes. So it's like, what do you do on Twitch all day when you're entering somebody's random chat and then just all of a sudden swooning over the physical appearance of how somebody looks or how somebody sounds? Like, I don't understand what you're doing on chat, literally, or Twitch. Like, this is a platform for video games, and yes, there is a social aspect, but I think that comes behind video games. Like, the whole platform itself is built around people and gaming. Not Jobs. I do not. Honey Nut. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Raw Dog. I do not. I see that next to you. But I think moving forward, like, I really am at a weird kind of crossroad, because how did I word that? I posted that the other day. I'll get it exactly here. So as I wrote at the very bottom, it says, I'm willing to embrace the change that I also fear introducing one. And one obviously being a webcam in that regard, because I don't want the community to be even mixed. Like, I know that sounds weird, but I don't want some random new community to join based on how I sound and look and have like no interest in what I do, and they're very shallow, and that's why they've joined, to the community that exists now, which basically was built ground up from having no idea to some degree how I looked. And I don't want that dual interaction between a bunch of people that are here for the wrong reasons and a bunch of people that are here for the right reasons. It's not about me. The rage emotes and stuff. Yeah, I think that's the case. Like, if I was a female that was relatively well endowed and had access to extremely cut short tank tops and stuff like that, I would not do that. Like, the camera would always be like up here, right? But I think that's my mentality about that, is I don't want my physical appearance to ever draw in people. And I think like it's inevitable to some degree. Like, you can't stop that no matter who you are. But at the same time, I guess there is a choice that I have where I can limit it, but at the same time I don't want to limit it because there's no reason for me to. Like, I'm not self-conscious or anything in that. Like, I don't mind using webcam at all. It's a really stupid situation that I'm in, because I'm very happy not using one, and I'm also very happy using one. So whether or not I choose to use one moving forward, I mean, I'm happy either or. And I think I've kind of found an okay balance right now, using it for like podcasts and interactive games, because that gives me a reason not only to use it, but also stream some of the stuff that I've had a backlog forever, like Edith Finch and To the Moon. But I don't know, I'm really toying with the idea of just using it all the time. I really don't want the community to be replaced by people that are here for, again, the wrong reasons. I probably agree with that, Bovine. And I mean, like, that's a whole different topic for a different day. There's a very skewed viewership when it comes to stuff like that. Yeah, see, and I would agree with that too, Fitzvogel. Like, before you came in, we kind of talked about it, and then we sidetracked to the donation thing. But, like, even though I probably wouldn't use one, I think this is looping. I just noticed that. Should probably get rid of that. Here, switch it this way. But yeah, before you came in, like, I largely agree with the general consensus that a webcam enhances the viewer experience. See, I don't know if I agree with that, because it happens like every 2 days or something. Somebody says something, and it's always somebody new, and it's always like, I can't ever escape from it. Thanks, Polly. See, and I think, like, that's the other thing too, is it's just, I don't know. Anyway, I think I've drawn this out. Basically, long story short, it's just not something I'm entirely comfortable with yet. Something that personally as a streamer I'm struggling with, because personally I've never experienced this outside of streaming. Literally, streaming is kind of like the conjoining factor in everything, because obviously people approach me in real life. That happens quite randomly, quite frequently, and I have no problem interacting with people that choose to approach me, even if it's like in a negative way and I'm not interested or something like that. But if you do that over the internet and you remove the fact that I can't see you. In some cases, I've never even talked to you. Like, I know nothing about you. I know nothing at all. Like, it's a really weird experience, and I'm just not used to that because I've never been the focal point in that regard before. And I think that's literally the biggest thing, is I've never been that focal point to people that I can't, you know, like, reach out and grab and interact with. Both. Oh, bovine. I don't know. As I said, like, it's a stupid experience. It's just my experience. This is why. And people ask all the time, all the freaking time, especially after I use a webcam for something like Edith Finch or something casual, and then switch to, you know, like a podcast or something like that. And then I go back and I don't. Like, sometimes chat the next day or something is literally asking, like, oh, you should turn your webcam on. And I get that in messages all the time. And it's like, I've never really explained it, but I guess now people kind of have a generalized idea of why that would be. Actually, I don't think I've ever explained it before to anybody. So... Alright, let's see here. Hey, Cyphern. How you doing today, Cyphern? It is a big part of it. And I think that's, and as I said, like, not to excuse any behavior, but I'm less likely, I guess, to be over analytical and think about it if it's coming from somebody that I've already met and know. At that point, it's more of a compliment than it is just a really weird, random remark from a stranger that I've never met before that I would consider, if I saw in real life, possibly to be like a registered sex offender. No, I don't make it weird. I don't give them the attention that they want, trust me. Like, if anybody says, like, even in that picture, you go scroll back up, I either say something, okay, like this, I didn't expect that or something. Like, I either say something or I just, okay, that's it, I'm gone. I leave, I don't talk anymore. And I never stop talking, so if you make me stop talking, you know you've said something stupid. But that was literally the end of that conversation. I was like, okay, you do that, you be weird, I'm out of here. So the last time that I was talking about viewership, in that picture, we were talking about, I don't know, I don't think I agree with that. There's nothing weird that I said. I don't even know if it's a him or a her. But we were talking because the streamer walked away for like a minute or whatever, and they muted themselves, but they accidentally muted the game audio too, so it was like complete silence, like sometimes you leave us on your streams. There's like nothing. So I literally pointed that out. I'm like, you could drop a pin and we could get a party started or something. But I don't think, like, my weirdness should not be the breeding grounds for other people to think that they can just... Like, as weird as I am, I don't agree with you, Bovine, as weird as I am, that should not be an invitation to, like, sexually assault somebody or be, like, overly weird with them. Like, that should not be the case. Like, I don't know how to say that otherwise. Like, I don't want to say, like, this was, like, sexual assault, because I don't think it was, just some weird guy being weird. But at the same time, like, that should never be excusable. And no matter what I'm saying, it shouldn't lead into that. Like, if some guy decides out of nowhere to do that, or girl, or whatever it was, like, that's them being weird. It's not me somehow attracting it. Like, that's kind of the same mentality that you have when, you know, like, a girl wears, like, a low-cut shirt or something. You say they deserve being raped or something. Like, that's not the case. Like, they should be able to wear what they want, much like I should be able to act like I am without ever expecting either. Your music is okay. It's pretty good. See, and I do agree, but at the same time, like, they're just, I don't know. As I said, it seems to be a problem with me. Other streamers, I'm in their chats quite frequently. They never seem to experience this to the level that I experience it. So it's just something that I kind of have to deal with and figure out as I continue to grow, because it doesn't seem to be a problem anywhere else that I go except for my own channel. You know, it's very possible that he could have made that joke or something. He or she, whatever, unaware of the fact that this is like a reoccurring problem to me for like the last forever since I started using a webcam, like every 2 or 3 days. So maybe a funny joke to somebody else would have been like, okay, because it's not like I found that not funny or something, but at the same time it was just like, I can barely interact with random strangers without it somehow coming back to me like that. So it's like, I honestly do agree with you. There is some over-analyzation, but at the same time, like if it happens like 50 times, right? It's not really something that you should just not think about anymore. Like clearly there's some kind of recurring problem. I don't understand why. So I disabled the song request just because it was like crazy with the lyrics. I do, and I really do agree with you. Like I know I can't do that, but that's what I mean. Like I'm conflicted either way. I am, to some degree, yes. And I get that, but I mean, like I don't know. As I said, it's a weird situation. I'm just not used to it because I've never been in this situation before. And all it was to be intending was, this is again why I don't use a webcam very frequently, because it seems to spawn this behavior. It seems to create this behavior, especially with people that aren't used to it. Like I think for the most part, if I'm streaming kind of like a podcast, the people that join or come in are the people that are already aware of it. Like I think I've done like what, 60 of these or something so far. I don't think there's been any new faces that have come that are already used to it. It's everybody that kind of already knows me, and then sometimes more people as they kind of figure it out that these are happening. But in terms of like games that people would have followed on Twitch, like Edith Finch or To The Moon, there's quite a few people that I saw on both of those streams that I've never seen before. So their first interaction with me would be based on obviously what I'm doing on a webcam or whatever the case was. So their initial reactions and responses and stuff like that are a lot different than the community that's already been here. Really, Polly? Yeah, I think for the most part everybody kind of embraces my weirdness, and I would never change, to be honest. The best part of my personality is the fact that I'm extremely damaged in the brain, so makes me a funny and over-analytical person. Thinks about way too much. But I do agree with that assessment, and that's kind of the thing. Like that's the community that I want to embrace. That's the community that I like, not the community that comes in and does stuff. And I agree with that too, Nuxie. Like I'm not trying to avoid it, because clearly if I was, I would never use a webcam. It's more so, it's again, I think the community thing. The biggest thing to me is I don't want to attract a bigger community than the one that I currently have as I continue to grow, because I am going to grow and I will keep growing, and I have grown, that replaces what has grown in the first place. Like if you think of it like a flower growing out of a pot or something, you know, eventually it grows and it becomes beautiful or something like that. Like what's the point of growing that flower and then like ripping it out and replacing it with some weeds or something like that? And I think that's the biggest thing to me, is I don't want that community that keeps growing, that's so good right now, as I continue to grow, to literally be replaced by some shitty fake something else. Like that's I think the biggest thing to me. It's not interacting or dealing with those people. That's way secondary. But it's just, I don't, that's the thing. That's the thing I think that I don't like the most, because growth is inevitable on Twitch. And that's also something that I don't like, is no matter how big that you keep growing, it doesn't stop. And I never thought I would be close to 600 followers. I thought, okay, I randomly stream or whatever, maybe like 100 people by the first year, but the fact that it's been like 6 times that amount is actually pretty cool. I fell apart at the end. I can think them through. Sometimes they're good. I guess maybe sometimes they're not. Yeah, I guess so. See, okay, look, we'll reverse this. We'll do this on you, Bovine. Think about it this way. You have grown exponentially. Your channel is a great example of exponential growth. You've grown a very large amount in a very short period of time. So how do you deal with the fact that you're going to keep growing? Like, this chat right now is fairly active, right? I don't know how you chat with like sometimes 50 to 60 people a night. You can't to some degree, because you're obviously always behind. So how do you deal with that as you continue to grow? Once you reach like those 100, 200 numbers or something like that, what are you going to do? How do you curtail that? How do you keep what you currently have and embrace, obviously, the change that's going to happen no matter what moving forward? I'm very interested in how you're going to do that, because I don't think there is a way. Like there's no way that you can continue to manage what you do. And it's gone from very manageable, because I followed you when you were like maybe 100, 200 followers, you have like less than 20 people in your chat or whatever, to literally sometimes you're pushing like 60 people. One of the other times that I was watching you stream, there was like 60 people in there. So I can't imagine, obviously that's going to lower over time. People are going to keep finding you, it's going to keep growing. So how do you deal with 100 plus people all chatting very retroactively with each other? And I think that's just big. It goes back to like my fear about that thing, is I don't want the community that I keep having here to be replaced by some shitty community that's following me for all the wrong reasons. You're coherent enough. Yeah, I guess Fitzvogel. He'll just become like a permanent podcast too. %30 bots. See, and I think that's the only really huge downside that I don't like about Twitch, is the more time you spend on it, the more you inadvertently grow, and the more the community that you're comfortable with changes. And I'm all about embracing change, but at the same time, it's like this is a very forced change to accept. You can't avoid growth. The more that you stream, it's gonna happen. Yeah, your chats are great. Like, they're very focused. They're very... But I mean, a large part of the chat experience in your channel is people chatting with each other, but a large part of it too is people chatting directly with you and seeking your feedback and your opinion and stuff like that. And as I said, like, you're gonna keep growing. You've clearly demonstrated by streaming, sometimes in the past, only 2 times a week, how exponential your growth is compared to mine, where I'm streaming like an hour a day. Like, I think it's a very comparable growth, not on my side compared to your levels, but just on the fact that we both have grown probably faster than most people. And yeah, like as I said, when you're like pushing 100 plus and stuff like that, it'll be interesting to see how you continue to balance that, because at that point you're going to be forced either to embrace change, kind of like I am in this situation, and do something different as a streamer that you might not be comfortable with, or you're going to have to figure out some way to deal with it regardless. See, and I think that's the thing too. If I am open and candid I remember only one time in your chat there was some guy and he had like radical mad KKK beliefs, and he just went on and on about people being arrested and certain ethnic groups and stuff like that, and it just like, I don't know, nobody banned him. The chat was full of mods, but I think in my case, obviously, like personally, I just would have got rid of him. And I know you know his name. It's on the tip of my tongue. I don't know, but stuff like that within the retro speedrunning community, I think the retro speedrunning community is kind of like an older audience. You know, most are like 25, 30 or something like that. A lot are mature. Not to say obviously like the retro kind of variety channel isn't. But there's nothing like that in the retro community for the most part. Very few people come in here and cause trouble. I've never had people like that come in. I obviously don't watch all your streams all the time, but I watch a fair amount of them when you do stream. But like it's just non-existent within the retro community. The trolling and stuff like that is kept to almost a bare minimum, to the point that it doesn't matter whose channel you watch. So it's not even like my channel and the personality that I bring and the community that I bring. It's like everyone within retro, it doesn't happen. Very rarely you get some idiot, but like out of all the streams that I watch on a random basis, I struggle to think of anybody that actively gets banned by people with green swords. Yeah, see, and I think that's the thing. I think it's just that, like, obviously Twitch can attract a younger demographic. If Bovine streamed Minecraft, literally, for like a full day or something, I'd be very curious to see the kind of people, the strangers that stumble upon him, instead of now. Because anybody that stumbles upon you now is kind of like an older demographic. They don't cause trouble. But it's hard to cause trouble if what you're streaming is like 20 years predating when they were born, right? Or maybe even more. No, I agree, Polly. Like every so often you get somebody younger that's generally interested in older games or whatever, but so I'd still agree with that, Johnny, too. Like, unless you have, you know, like a mom or a dad or something that specifically introduced you to retro games, it's very unlikely, I think, for the vast majority of kids growing up now that they'll have an innate interest in retro games. It's very small minority. It's a big rarity. Not to say that it obviously doesn't happen, but. And see, that's always cool too, Polly. Like I've had that experience maybe once, so it's so rare for me. But I definitely agree that retro is kind of safe in regards, by design, when it comes to, for the most part, trolls. It rarely happens, and at least within the speedrunning community, I don't know about the retro kind of variety stream community. I'd imagine it's the same way because, you know, I watch Bovine, I watch 8meister, I watch Gunstar Heroes, and there's never a lot of people that come in and cause problems and stuff on their streams, so. I think it comes down to also your personality and how you deal with it too, Fitzvogel. You know, like as Bovine was saying earlier, if they can elicit some kind of reaction out of you, then obviously the more they'll come back to your channel, the more they'll bug you, the more they'll do stuff like that. But if you don't give them a reaction, they're not going to do anything. They won't be back. Okay, I'm really glad that you're here, Bovine, too. And obviously this goes to anybody else. And I'll post the exact quote here. So the last time that I was doing this thing, I talked about viewership and growing viewership and what it means as a viewer to pay attention to a channel and stuff like that. And somebody messaged me after, whether or not they're in the chat, they can call themselves out, but they were talking about networking. And he or she said something really smart. I kind of liked it, but I want to see what you think of literally this opinion, because this was their opinion word for word, and I'll obviously keep it anonymous. But they said, you really need to do a lot of networking in the community if you want people to watch you. So what do you guys think of that statement? If you want to be big, sure. There's a dog barking out there. It's tough management-wise, it's a huge time sucker. See, I actually agree with most of this stuff too. So is networking then a requirement, do you think, or can you grow without networking at all? Because I think you can definitely grow without networking yourself. Like, you don't have to put yourself out there, you don't have to visit other streams, but you know what, I say that, and I'll actually catch my own tongue doing that because that's not true. One of the people that I like watching almost the most, like it's not the best streamer or whatever, but he's very up there. He's got something like 183 followers. He is tremendously skilled in video games. He is just solid. Probably one of the best people skill-wise that I've ever watched play random things, and he's always doing hard mode something. And he follows 0 people, and he's never in anybody else's chat. He never talks to anybody else outside of his stream. And his viewers reflect that, because I still randomly watch him, but sometimes when I go in there, he's got like 2 viewers, or 0 viewers sometimes, depending what he's playing. You don't want to be a huge streamer, probably. Johnny Rebel's a liar. You seem to throw that accusation around quite a bit, Bovine. See, and I don't think I actively network. Like, I've never tried to show up to bigger streamers and be like, hey, this is what I do. I'm personally friendly with everybody as long as I feel like I click with you. Like, when I host Bovine, for example, it's because I like Bovine's content. I like Bovine as a person. It's like that with anybody else that I host. And I think as I continue to keep growing, I like the idea of hosting, you know, kind of like smaller people that don't have the same audience. Probably much like Bovine, I would imagine, does as well. You know, it feels good to have a chat full of like 20 or 30 people or something, and then host somebody else that regularly gets like 3 or 4 people watching them. But I don't think myself I've ever actively tried to network. It's just, if I watch you, it's because you're good at something. Or in the case of Bovine, you have a good personality. But it's just, that is the reason that I'm there. And the more that I like you as a streamer and your skill, and the more that I like, I guess, your personality to some degree, then the more likely I am in hosting people and really wanting to share from my perspective what a different channel is about. See, and that's the thing too. I kind of want to say, like, I always want to keep people anonymous unless they want to be brought into the conversation, right? But I did host some random guy one time because he was playing Batman, and obviously you guys know my history with that game. And as I hosted him, he was literally in the middle of like a pro-abortion speech about why abortion is a good thing. And I was thinking, like, Yeah, never again. I will figure out people figure out people. As a male anyway, he had some pretty radical opinions about females and what they can do to their body and things, but I was like, okay, never again. I'll figure out people that are like-minded in personality, like-minded in game choices and stuff like that, a little less hot-headed and flame-headed. And I mean, like, everybody has opinions, but yeah, that was really awkward. It's like, oh, this dude's playing Batman, I don't know anything about him, and he went on for like 19 minutes, and I was like, okay, I kind of switched the host. Yeah, self-advertising is something different there too. I don't know if I agree with that. Like, it's a very tight line to cross, self-advertising compared to networking. Because if you find people that like you for what you do, obviously it's a lot different. But if you just like go into other people's chats and yell and scream and say, hey, look at me, like, I think that's kind of a douchebag move. So I don't know if I entirely agree with that statement in particular, but I do agree that there is truth and merit behind it as well. Well, see, and that's the thing, you know what? Bovine has the greatest mentality about that, and I've never really seen it in other streams. Like, I saw it first with Bovine, other people copied it, and I'll be very candid about that, because they like the idea too. And to be quite frank, I started copying it as well. But I love the idea how Bovine pitches everybody that he feels comfortable with and kind of gives a shout out on stream. And he makes them aware of people that might not otherwise exist, because it's not like when you're watching from a chat person, like when you're watching from like the chat interaction, you don't always get a sense of what the streamer can do. So to give like a brief synopsis and to kind of explain the streamer to other people on your own stream is very selfless. And I definitely agree with what Bovine does, because like everybody in here, as far as I can see, that has talked anyway, is a streamer. So in that sense, like, there's no reason that people shouldn't be following everybody, right? But it's funny because like you get involved in one community, and then that community is different from a different community, and you miss out on sometimes people. And I think that's the thing that separates Bovine too, is he doesn't do it. It's like not like it's an expected way. Like, if I say hi in Bovine's chat, I expect nothing. But sometimes Bovine will say, oh, you know, this is Junkyard Dave, this is what he does and stuff. And there has been quite a few people from Bovine's chat that have followed me. But I mean, like, at that point, this is where there's kind of like a cross-contamination thing between him and I. Because we do some like-minded stuff like this, but for the most part, the viewing audiences are way different. And some people stick around, some people don't. But I mean, at the end of the day, if you're there to watch a variety of games being poorly played by a guy that likes to drink water with way too much ice ratio, then Bovine is for you, right? Smack talks me all the time in his chat. But if you're here for skill, if you're here for games that you play that you like to actually see beaten, then there we go. You're here for me, right? Yeah, probably 5%. It wouldn't surprise me, but like your cup, right? It's like 85% ice. It's just not a healthy ratio. I do not agree with that, sir. Do you drink water or do you drink ice? Because I'm pretty sure it's just ice. Hey, you know what? I'm only firing shots back. Bovine is pretty quick to pull out the pistol sometimes on me, so... What is ice, man? We live nah. Yeah, I live in Canada. I have no idea. I do. I legitimately do. That is a big thing. If you want to ever wow me, make me shut up by saying something smart. You'll have my love and debt forever. Yeah. No, I have no idea. You know when Homer like looks up at that gym and he says GYM? He's like, what's a GYM? That's me with ice. No clue. Alright, so what should we do? You know what? We're gonna spread the love to this guy. Because I think I am done, you guys. So thanks for hanging out again. There is a dude that maybe you'll like, Bovine. We'll host variety this time. We won't host speedrunning. He does do speedrunning a little bit, but he's a very friendly guy. I like him a lot. He falls under the radar. Sometimes, actually, I think the last few times he was here for this podcast thing, he's a very friendly guy, but he does variety for the most part. So we'll host him. His name is Freelancer Cookie, and I quite like him. It's a good dude. So to the speedrunning pals, I'm sorry. To the variety guys, I think you'll like him. So yeah, thank you guys for hanging out. Always fun. Always fun doing this. I love it. Yeah. I guess so. Yeah. We'll host this guy. I have no idea what he's playing right now. But we shall pass the love that way, so. Alright, take care guys.